Welcome back. This is Tim Cordier. Atlanta, the city, too busy to hate. This was a phrase that was created during the 1960s by the Atlanta City Council during the tumultuous and difficult period of the civil rights era. This phrase was meant to alleviate any anxiety that business might have with regards to investing in the city's economy. Well, 60 years later, Atlanta has become an economic machine with a GDP that exceeds $320 billion annually, making Atlanta the nation's 10th largest economy. Unfortunately, for some neighborhoods and communities of our city, this is not a reality. No, in some neighborhoods, they are engulfed in a vicious cycle of criminal activity, fueled by gangs, guns, and drugs, where the dream has truly been deferred, dried up and wasted in the sun, the last train to perdition. But we do have an angel who lives at the edge of this table of darkness, determined to lift the veil of deprivation and despair. Her name is Gracie Hamlin, and this is her story, and the story of the Wunderdogs. All right, well listen, Gracie, first of all, it is a real pleasure to be here with you today. It's a real honor.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Could you tell us exactly how you came about creating Wunderdogs?
Wunderdogs was created when I was actually disabled. I had an accident at work, and I saw some kids crying coming down the street, and I couldn't help it but to say what was wrong, and they told me that they were being fought at a park down the street, and I had to see it for myself, and sure enough, there was a circle of women and teenagers watching two little boys fight, encouraging them to hit each other. And it was heartbreaking. It reminded me of a dog fighting ring, and I immediately called the authorities and quickly realized that there was nothing being done about what was happening to these kids. Nobody was really paying attention to it.
So Wunderdogs is created out of this.
So then I basically started attending community meetings and started saying, what's going on? Why are these kids all running around the neighborhood with nothing to do? And try to engage these kids into something positive. And quickly you find out there's just not enough programs in these communities to address all the challenges we were facing in the community I originally started this, which is Peoplestown. We had like 3 large low-income communities and not enough programs. So I tried to take them to church. It wasn't enough. I tried to find out where their after-school tutoring was. There wasn't anything. So I asked their parents if they would mind, letting me work with their kids and helping me. At the time I was disabled with a broken arm, if maybe their kids could help me take care of the animals. And that's what started Wunderdogs, was to see the beauty of what it was like to see the kids interacting with the animals.
So you were already involved in animal welfare with recovery with dogs.
Right, so I've been rescuing for 15 years, and it was easy to see, how to save an animal off the streets, but to see what was happening to these kids, I never understood this problem. I've never been around a situation where there's kids with nothing to do that gets them in trouble. So working with these kids gave me an opportunity to look at holy cow, we're going to be able to save a lot of dogs. And sure enough, not only were we saving dogs, we started seeing other faults of the communities and what the real challenges are. Is yes, these kids don't have programs. Well, why are there no programs? And a lot of it is misunderstandings and lack of resources. Is that, to me, people see this dog and they're scared. They see a fighting dog, and they see my kids and they don't see him. They see what they see on TV. They see something that's not what these young kids are. The innocence that I now want to protect, and these animals are helping us have that conversation about don't be scared of what you don't know. Like, this is scary, but he's not scary at all. And when you see this love for these children that are being neglected and these animals that are being neglected, it's a beautiful thing, to be able to tell that story of how to help one by saving the other. So that's how Wunderdogs came. These kids started saving these dogs and started helping us see what the real problems were, what it means, what is neglect. In these communities, to me, there's a lot of neglect.
Where did you come up with the name Wunderdogs?
It started as underdogs, and to me, I've always been an underdog, so I love the word underdog. But in these communities, underdog may seem something negative, and I wanted to turn it into something positive. So I took it to my friends, and one of my friends said, "Add a W in front of it," and sure enough, you add a W to it, and it turns something wonderful. Wunderdogs, which is very positive. Very.
Well, absolutely, it makes me think of like a superhero, like
Yeah.
Wonder Woman, right?
Yeah. Yep. It's the idea that we're teaching these kids to jump into action. First, we teach them to find their voice by helping animals, and then they find their voice to address other issues and challenges in their life. And that's what Wunderdogs is teaching kids to find their voice.
Well, do you want to tell us a little bit about some of the programs that you've developed with the kids and the dogs?
Well, at first it was rescuing. So it was easy to rescue. There were kids everywhere, stray dogs everywhere. And in the first year, we picked up 24 dogs off just our neighborhood. And then the next year was 50. The next year, we've rescued 550 dogs off the street in the 5 years this program's been on.
How many?
550.
550. Goodness gracious.
And that's not even hoarding cases of cats, TNR, and just rescuing kittens. We have over 700 animals that these 10 kids have taken off the streets. And it just tells you how big the problem is, right? You got 10 kids saving 700 animals. Imagine if we could just talk about more. Why are kids having to rescue to help the community and help these animals? And that's where we are now. And your question are what the programs were is we started with rescue in the spring, and then by winter, what do I do with a bunch of kids in my house with now 10 dogs? So I saw the need in our backyards for dogs to have dog houses. The dogs that we're seeing are not having adequate shelter. So we didn't have any money. We just started seeing dressers and people being, pushed out of their homes. So furniture's all over, discarded all over our communities. So we took dressers and cabinets and made dog houses.
Repurposed them.
Yeah. And we delivered one, and the neighbor needed one, and then somebody saw what a great thing it was, and it kept us so busy. So now during the winter, we have the Doghouse Project. And that in itself started the Animal Cruelty Task Force, because after our first year of delivering dog houses, we saw the overwhelming problem, right? So the kids can rescue dogs, we can build dog houses, we can deliver that compassion, but there was starting to see, there were some people that were not happy to see us doing that work. They were telling us to get off their property in a very, very, very not nice way. And that's when we had to address the criminal element we were starting to see between the neglect of the animal and the abuse of the community. The people that were hurting the animals were also hurting our kids in the community. They were tied to gangs, tied to drugs, and that's what we started. That's what these kids got us to now. It's the conversation of what is the link of violence? What are we seeing? Why is the neglect of these communities, these animals, so important to address in the community?
It's connected, right?
It's very connected.
So what has been some of your most cherished accomplishments with regards to this, to what you've been doing here?
The accomplishment is seeing the kid's success. So to see how a child who I've been working with since he was 9, 10 years old when this problem first started, is now driving, is now somebody that the community looks up to, somebody that models something that we weren't seeing before in our community, and now kids are looking up to him and or her. They're going off to college, they're getting jobs. They're teaching us what it means when we say break the cycle, right? So originally when we started this, we wanted to break the cycle of neglect and abuse of animals. And that was in itself such a great success. I mean, I'm like, wow, we're addressing with leadership. We're addressing with representatives that there is a link of violence between animal abuse and child abuse, domestic violence. That success in itself, getting that conversation in the communities, in our state, in our country, is so important. But now to see that we are also breaking the cycle of, say, incarceration. My kids aren't ending up in jail. My kids are actually the opposite. They're leaders, they're empathetic, they're compassionate. We thought that was really interesting to see, wow, my kids are actually making it. And then now we're breaking the cycle of poverty and dependency on a system that isn't working. So my kids are going off to college. My kids are getting jobs. These doghouse projects have now become where it gives these kids skills. They're learning how to build dog houses, gives them a pliable skill. They're learning to care and assess animals. That makes them available to work at a vet office, we're creating more options for these kids, and I'm really proud of that.
And who do we have here? Who's sitting with us right now?
This is Champion.
Champion.
Yep. So Champion was one of our first, this was our first outreach. So we were delivering dog houses, but then people were calling us at all hours of the night. They needed dog houses, hay, and food, and we started delivering dog houses, hay, and food at all hours of the night. And Champ in Clayton County was just left with a whole yard of dogs, nothing. I didn't even see him. He's in a wire crate, all chewed up from a fight, and we thought he was gonna die, so we couldn't leave him. So we went ahead and, made him ours. And now he's our mascot.
I was gonna say he's your obviously your mascot.
Yeah, yeah.
And we're right here at headquarters, right? This is currently your headquarters.
Yep, yep.
But not for long. Is that right?
I hope not.
You have another location that you're going to be moving to. Am I correct?
I hope so. It's going to cost a little bit of money, but the county's giving us a building, and we have the opportunity to renovate it and start the programs that we started. So we're talking about an education center, a building center, where the community can come and educate the kids. A junior vet tech program where now veterinarians work alongside the kids and provide a very needed service, vet care, in a community that doesn't have much affordable vet care. So when I say neglect of a community, I mean from the trash to the fact that the resources are really hard to come by, and people who love their animals but don't have a place to go. Wunderdogs is providing that. We're providing engaging piece to the kids, and then we're providing a service to a community that very much needs it.
Gracie, could you share with us the kind of pushback that you've had with regards to your program? I mean, how has the community reacted?
In the beginning, it was shocking to everybody, right? So you have a neighborhood that is being completely neglected, but 2 streets down, you have a community of very educated, successful people. And the thing that's happening is the kids from that community are coming into the successful community and breaking into their homes and getting this idea that they're bad kids, but it's not bad, right? So we get in there, we start seeing it's just an opportunity. There's nothing for them to do. They're bored. But it is an opportunity for gangs. And that's where we started, is when I started seeing what was happening to those kids, I couldn't believe that gangs were running our neighborhoods. They were buying our kids for $1. A gang member can get a kid $1. He goes and buys an ice cream. He says, that's a good guy in my life because he does something that I need. I want food. The gang provides something that the kid doesn't have anywhere else in his life. And it starts off by innocence of, dollars and bags of potato chips and soda, but then that kid becomes like, hey, I want to be a part of that. How do I get in on that? And all at once they recruit them to start breaking into people's homes and start, saying, hey, I want to cut your grass, but really they're casing your home. And people want to do good. They want to support these kids, but they're scared. And what we've been able to see is that there is a lack of understanding of how powerful these gangs are when there's nothing else in the community for them to do. So when we first started, yes, we did get pushback because when we did run into the gang, there were kids that were being taught to hurt my kids who were trying to do something positive. They were taught to hurt anything that was positive because that would take away from the power that you have. And it got really challenging at times. It got very scary. We had 10 drive-bys on our street.
When you say drive-bys, you mean they drove by and shot at you?
Right, but it wasn't just at me. It was just, that's the culture. That was what was going on in our neighborhood, is that you have drive-bys going on in our neighborhood, but 2 streets up, they hear it, but they don't understand what's going on. And with us, it was a matter of just understanding that this was their territory. They've been running this for a while. The Peoplestown gang, the Bloods, has been allowed to grow there because nobody else was looking at it. And all at once the community's starting to get the backlash of it, and I'm making connections here. I'm like, wow, these kids, they start being recruited at a very young age. So in the beginning, it was really tough. But our work cleared up that our mission wasn't to be law enforcement. Our work was to just engage kids, teach them something better than what they were seeing every day. And that, I think, what the gangs respect is that I'm not there to stop their business. I'm just there to give an option to kids that don't have many options. Not every kid is gonna get into my program, but at least there's an option. And that's what I want the conversation to be, is around, if you want these kids to be successful, is increase the options in their life. Because right now, my kids, when I first started this program, I saw my kids have 3 options. You have prison, you have death, and then you have dependency on the government assistance. Those are my kids' options, and I don't like any of those options. So with Wunderdogs, I feel that now they have veterinarians, builders, you have leaders, advocates, and from those ideas, they even grow farther. My girl, Sydney, she's going off to school to be a nurse. You know, Thomas is autistic, but he's got 2 jobs, supporting himself, not dependent on the system. That is really important, to have those discussions that these kids maybe might have been dependent on something because they were never given a chance to learn any other way. And I'm really proud of our work. You know, we're
well,
really
you should
proud.
be. I mean, this is a remarkable story. It really is.
Thank you.
It's incredible. Just a real sign of resilience and determination.
Right. Yep.
Well, listen, we're going to head over and we're going to look at your future site. Okay?
Yeah.
We're going to take a look at it.
All right.
Well, here we are, guys. We're here at the future location, or headquarters, I should say, for Wunderdogs. And here's the future right here. Absolutely. So, James, how exactly did you get this building, the future home?
Fulton County leasing it to us for $1 a year.
$1? Wow, that's a pretty good deal. Wish I could get that kind of a deal.
We got our hands full. It's a lot of work. It's not just going to be $1. It's going to be a capital campaign. We're looking at about $1.5 million renovation, but a 10-year opportunity to show what a program like this can do and make a difference in a community.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. How did you guys get the funding to build all these dog houses here?
We got a lot of support from the community. They believe in what we're doing and what the kids are doing, so mostly support.
Well, do we want to load some of these houses up here on this trailer? I'll be happy to help you guys.
Yeah.
You know, Gracie, I'm absolutely certain that people are going to want to know how they can help you. So could you share with us exactly how we can contribute and help you with this journey?
So join the capital campaign. Hopefully that'll be launching in the next couple of months to fund this renovation. And go to the website. Stay on top of our events. Stay on top of our ask. Go to Wunderdogs.org. W-UNDERDOGS.org.
Gotcha. Well, listen, I just want to say this has been an absolute pleasure hanging out with you. You are truly a warrior, and this young man right here is certainly a testament to the kind of work that you've been doing. So, wonderful experience. I just can't thank you enough.
Thank you.
Seriously. You too, James. I enjoyed it immensely. All right, everyone. Well, listen, this has been Tim Cordier, and it's been an absolute pleasure hanging out with Gracie, James, and of course, champion of the Wunderdogs. I'm going to pass it on over to Ariana. Take it away, Ariana.